What's up YouTube, Cap over here, and welcome to my team analysis for the Reddit Elite League, not to be confused with the RBL. This is a brand new league, as I'll be coaching your guys' Toronto Staraptors. And yeah, so before we get into this, be sure to smash that like button, and be sure to subscribe, as we are so close to 100, and it'd be really awesome if we can get to 100 before the month ends. That'd be incredible. If you guys can make that happen, hats off to you, I guess. Hats off to you. Anywho, we're just gonna jump right into this. This is in no numeric order. This is not how I picked like 1, 2, 3. This is just all my team on the screen. We're just gonna have it all out there, and you guys can just enjoy it as it is. So anywho, I'm just gonna go off the top. We're gonna have our first mega pick, which is Agron, aka Skull Crusher, because he enjoys crushing skulls. Plus, you can also say it like Skull Crusher. This is an awesome pick just because, as you can tell from my team, I do have a really strong fantasy core. So that being the Agron, the Latias, and the Sylveon, having the Dragon, the Fairy, and the Steel type, which is really, really incredible because they do complement each other so well. Sylveon has a weakness to either Steel or Poison. Latias and Skull Crusher can simply eat those hits up, which is really, really awesome. They both penetrate walls so well, Agron and Sylveon and Latias. And our captain for this team will be Latias, aka La Capitina. Of course, we always have to have a captain on every Toronto Staraptors, and I felt like Latias is the perfect fit for that. Latias provides so much support too. It can be run in so many different ways too, having a really high speed, being one of the best defoggers in the game, perhaps one of, if not the best. It has a Calm Mind set, it has a spec set, a Choice Scarf set, it provides support and Healing Wish. It does a lot of things, and it does it really well, so I'm really excited to be using Latias and having this thing. Next up, we have Mamoswine, aka Ray Romano. This mon, I could not resist myself from getting this mon because this thing does so much work. It has decent speed at 80, I do believe, and having Stab, Ground, and Ice is really good. Plus with Ice Shard, it can crush so many things with just one hit from any of those moves, and it really does really, really well in this league. It picks up so many weaknesses, and it provides some decent support. Plus, it's a really good complement to Latias, and I know that Mamoswine won't be used against me, so that's always good. Next up in our RU pick, we have Drapion, aka Dora the Explorer. That's a little inside joke between the league. I do believe when I was picking up this thing, I accidentally, someone typed in Dora or something, and this thing happened, and yeah, there we go. So stay true to the word. We're naming this thing Dora the Explorer, aka the Drapion. This provides a really strong Poison and Dark type. This one is actually incredibly decently fast. Who would have figured? This thing doesn't look fast. It has like 95 base speed, which is really, really awesome, and it can dish out Poison and Dark attacks, and it can set up with either Source Answer or Agility, I believe. So this thing can hit really, really hard, and it has decent defense too. So, and it has one weakness, which is Ground. So I really wanted to pick up this thing. When I saw it, I was like, oh man, I must have it. It complements the team so well. It provides more backup in terms of, it won't be used against me. It's resistant to Dark and Poison moves. It doesn't care about Psychic moves, which is pretty nice. And it seemed like it made sense to me. It fit this team so well. It provided some decent attack on what I needed. Anywho, we're gonna move into more of the bulkier part of the draft, I guess. I guess. So we picked up the RU Jellicent Sir Hammerlock. I wanted a water absorber, a rapids blocker, and a ghost type, a will whisper. It would be really nice to pick up something like that, and we found that in the Jellicent. Jellicent is a pretty nice Pokemon to have just because, in my opinion, it's pretty good. It does decent things really well, and it actually has quite the range. It has access to Recover, Will-O-Wisp, Pain Split. I do believe it has Will-O-Wisp and Scald, one of the best moves, provide that secondary effect, and it allows some breathing room for the likes of Lemonade, Latias. At some point, Skull Crusher can be a especially defensive mon. It lets them breathe a bit more and lets them fit into a different role, while Sir Hammerlock can actually just be placed as a special attacker or a special wall. So he can do a bunch of things. Next up, we have not Sir Hammerlock, Hariyama, aka Jackie Hands. Yeah, show off those hands. Ooh, yeah. So dazzly, so nice, so beautiful. Jackie Hands, the Hariyama, I really wanted something that could just break walls. Has Drain Punch, Fake Out, access to Knockoff, and it has some great abilities, that being Thick Fat and Sheer Force, and something else, Guts. I do believe it has Guts. So any of those abilities can be ran in at any time. It has access to Bullet Punch, Drain Punch, lots of punches because he is Jackie Hands. Gotta show off those hands, flash them. And it allows me to eat up fire and ice attacks, which who doesn't appreciate that? Fire attacks, Skull Crusher, ice attacks like Capitana. Ray Morano doesn't really appreciate it either. It provides that support, and it made sense to me. It really did make sense to me. Next up, this was actually my last pick, the Firo, my PU pickup. So I named him Hangry Burp because he's always looking pretty angry, and I concluded that whenever I get angry, you get a bit hangry. A lot of people think this is just not a serious pick. I'm never going to bring this thing. But this is the only round, the very last round where I got sniped. I wanted the Dodrio. There we go, Dodrio. But it ended up getting sniped. So I was like, I really need a flying stab Pokemon. So I ended up picking up the Firo. Firo actually does provide some decent support. It has access to U-turn, it has access to agility and baton pass, which I can totally access. I do believe it has access to drill run, one of the few Pokemon that has access to that. And it does have drill peck, or drill something, drills. It's a flying attack. It looks pretty powerful. And I really want to have this thing on my team. I know it can do some decent work. It has decent speed, which was something I was looking at. And I thought that's how I felt. I can't really expand on this Pokemon just because it does a certain thing and does it well. If I were to bring this thing ever, it'd have to be brought in a matchup where it actually makes sense. So as before, I was talking about my fantasy core. This is one of the cornerstones of the fantasy core, Sylveon the Lemonade. I was super excited picking up this thing just because it complemented my team so well, and it has access to support, attacking, baton passing, wish passing, clerk. It does so many things, and it does it so well. It's so unpredictable, and just from the construction of my team, it can't be that predictable on what week. Like, for example, I have to bring in this sort of Sylveon this week. I can be like, you know what, I'm just going to bring in a special attacker, Sylveon, Choice Spec Sylveon, and we're just going to click one button. Simple as that. But this Sylveon on this team, and the way that it's constructed, it can do so many different things. It can do it so well to a point where it becomes very unpredictable. But anywho, we're just going to move on to my free picks, which Sylveon was actually one of my free picks. I decided to go with 2 UU picks instead of 2 OU picks, and then I have to pick something else. Just because, if you guys didn't know, if you got an OU, you were only allowed a certain amount of picks, and your Mega Pokemon determined how many OU picks you had in your free picks and how many RU picks you had and UU picks. So I decided to go with 2 free UU picks and 1 OU pick. So I decided to pick up the Sylveon as my OU pick, and the UU pick, I got two of those. So we picked up Rotom Heat, aka Apple. You gotta bake some of that apple pie. Delicious. Granny made that for you, and it smells so good. It smells so good. I really wanted to pick up an electric Pokemon. I also wanted to pick up a pretty decent fire Pokemon. Rotom Heat provides a lot of that, and it provides me a immunity to ground, unless if it's Excadrill, then we're in a bit of a situation, or Mold Breaker. But it provides that support that I really wanted. Some levitating action, Volt Switcher, Will-O-Wisper, and it can take a lot of hits decently well. So I felt like it really complemented this team so well. It allows me to add another cornerstone to not only to a fantasy core, but to a fire, water, grass core too. And next up is our grass cornerstone, that being the Shaman, aka Little Sanic. And I'm really excited about bringing this thing just because it's a mixed barrel. It can mix. It's a mixed barrel because it can do a decent amount of things. That being like leech seeding, it can aromatherapy, just in case I want to have some more support in that. And that's where how this team is constructed. Each Pokemon can do multiple things, and just because they can do that one thing, I can allow other Pokemon to fit into different roles or suited them into a different role that normally, it's pretty predictable when you see on team preview that they're going to be doing that. Little Sonic has an incredible ability called Natural Cure, so I can run Rest Little Sonic with Natural Cure and it'll work. And it has a really, really great move, that being the Seed Flare. It could potentially drop special defenses and perhaps shift the tide in a battle like that, but it can also miss, which sucks. But it also has Earth Power, Air Slash, so it can be run as that sort of thing, and it's an incredible one to pick up. I've actually never used Shaman, so I'm really interested to see how you can use it and what sort of ways you can use it. But since I picked up Sir Hammerlock and Apple the Rotom Heat, I felt like I had to pick up a really decent grass Pokemon, and one of the best grass Pokemon in my opinion in the UU tier is Little Sonic, aka Shaman, and that's it can do multiple things. So there's that. And next up, I want to bring on some more speed onto the team. I felt like my team was it didn't lack in any defense or special defense or power. It just lacked a bit in speed, which was something that you could tell from later on in my draft. I was like, all right, I need some speed. I got the bulk, I just need the speed. And Chinchino actually fits that role quite well just because it has Tail Slap, Bullet Seed, Rock Blast. This is one of the Pokemon I'm more familiar with in the RU tier. I felt like Chinchino provides some U-turn support. You can run it as a Focus Sash, you can run it as a Choice Band, you can run it as, I guess, King's Rock if you want to be that guy. If you want to be that guy, I've seen it before. And it has some incredible speed up. I do believe it's at 115, and it has some decent power behind it too. Plus, it breaks Focus Sashes, so none of that Smeargle action will be happening. None of that is gonna be happening. So this is your Season 2 Toronto Staraptors. We're gonna be going into battle next week, but this is the team that I drafted. I'm pretty confident that we drafted a really awesome team. A lot of people are saying that it's a pretty bulky team. I don't disagree. I knew I was drafting a bulky team, but I was drafting a bulky offensive team. That's what I really, really wanted to play with this season, and I felt like I drafted one of the bulkiest and most offensive teams that you could draft. So anywho, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Be sure to smash that like button. If you guys have any questions for me, be sure to leave it in the comment section down below. I'll try to get to all your questions at a reasonable time. And anywho, I'm gonna get going. So thanks for watching. This is Cap signing off.